Hello, today is Saturday, the 10th day of June 2017. Let's take a quick look at some charts on Bittrex. And BTC is the first one available on multiple exchanges, which is BitShares. And interesting few days here. Up day, up day, up day. I had accumulated in here. I'm practically all out. I got 40 tokens left. Nothing to ride home about, but I sold a lot of it up in here. Most of it actually around in here, 15,000. Looking to get back in probably around here, but I'm going to be calculating Fibonacci within this video. Let's take a look at some other time frames. This is the 3-day chart. A low in at 170, matched both within Bittrex and Poloniex, and a high of 17,000. Good thing I got this in a logarithmic fashion. Let's take a look at some Fibonacci. A 117 low and a ballpark area of 17,400 so far for today's high. 2970. I mean, I'm not even going to consider this. This 38.2, it means 61 down. I'm not even going to consider it going to 1,000 Satoshi right now. But I'm going to be looking at the 76.4 right now. And even this, 29, I'm looking at 3,000 and 6,000. So 3,000 is here. That's an area where I might be looking to buy. In fact, I will be. But 6,000 is my immediate number, which would be a 23.6% retracement. I've sold a decent amount in there. But do I really want to buy much of it back? I know these things can go way up and back down, and oftentimes they'll come back to where it comes from. And, well, the 3,000 area. That's a big loss, but it's overextended big time. But as long as there's people willing to still buy into these markets, it can keep going higher. But at some point for myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm happy to get in here and get out with very, very good gains on this play. Let's take a look at this on the weekly time frame. Look at where it was back in here. So the market has came back to where it was. So at previous high. Another reason why I'd be looking for it to come back lower. But it's just wild to see these kinds of gains, that having it fall from like 17,000 down to 3,000, people looking at it on a linear chart will saying, holy crap, this thing is crashing. And I'll be saying, okay, there's a retracement. Because looking at the same chart, a linear fashion, a move to 3,000 would be down to here, and a red candle of that size, if it were to happen, well, that's where looks would be deceiving. I would look at a move down there as a correction. I'll have buy orders in there as well. Next up, OK Cash, the code OK. And it's been on an interesting run, as well as the story here on this daily chart, going back to 2015 at the end of that year. Sideways movement within the band, a little above, a little bit of retracement, but a new high here, deep correction, this uptrend, making it to this high, and then this long correctionary phase, previous high. There's a correctionary phase within that mode, supporting it rather than resisting it. And then as it breaks resistance today, ooh, wow, up she goes. All right, looking at the next time frame, it says 1 minute on the top. It's not. It's an hourly time frame. So within the 60-minute, as each one of the 2300s represents one trading day, so this is 1 day in here. But within the movement, the break of the resistance, nice consolidation pattern within the band, a nice breakout. A little bit of consolidating in here, lots of profit taking, but buyers keeping the market higher, and then another leg higher. back already to where it came from, right in here. That's where it was. And it has continued to go higher. So maybe it'll do the same thing, trade within this range, but breaking above this resistance area field, well, that will be the next leg higher. When this thing is ready to correct, Fibonacci analysis will be from whatever this low happens to be. Well, I know that. That's a little under 3,000. To whatever this high happens to be in here. Now, well, I don't know that. Right now it's a little over 9. But that would be the key numbers I would be looking at. After all, when I can get it from a key breakout point, then it's a no-brainer to use, we'll say 3,000 as the key low. Within the 3-day chart, however, well, that 3,000, it's just in here, that number. It's this key low. Yeah, short term that'll work. But this thing has been in a beautiful uptrend since last year. Ever since this bottom, you can count this low, maybe you count this low, what's been going on. High, low, high, low, and then it's been making some matching high, but along the way, higher, low, higher, low. So this area here, you have resistance, 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 3 tests in at around the 1400 or so area. Then the breakout in here established a new high, supported within the band an area in which it was resisting. So this 3 times hit area was supported. And again, we can see how it's been breaking out ever since. But bull trend, to say the least, as far as coming back to where it was. Well, short term, you're talking this little area in here. More longer term, you got this range of about 1,000 to 16, 17, 50. But 1,000 to 15 as the next place support after this area in here. Let's next take a look at AMP, A-M-P. And within this chart in here, we have the bottom, like a lot of these charts at the end of February, which is when I started getting into this game. I looked at so many charts and everything seemed to be in a bear market. But the bottom for many of these occur around this time, since this point. Fast move to this level. Notice what happened since. 18 average working in the correctionary phase as I like it to. 1, 2, 3 test of the 10,000 Satoshi handle. And multiple correctionary moves in here. Oh, look at this type of buying opportunity. But since this break in here, double higher highs, riding the 18 average band in an uptrend, correctionary phase, and now it's riding an uptrend. It was finding support on the 18 average of highs recently, but not the last 2 periods. No, it's broken this resistance. Does this have the room for another leg higher? Wouldn't surprise me if it does. Looking at this on the 3-day time frame, we can see a couple spots for where it was. It was here, and it was here. We can also now work within Fibonacci from this high to a key low, and well, I'll take this one in here. So let's put out the numbers, which are around 60,000 as the high. You can't see the low too well, but I know what that number is. It's 2952. So we'll put that in as the low. And around 60,000, giving the key numbers. And at around about 10,000 Satoshi and 19,000, just rounding it off. So how have these two numbers played? 10,000? Yeah, 19,000. Oh, that's where we're at now. How close is this to 19,000? Let's shorten out the time frame again. This is the hourly chart, and I think it is. Actually, it's the... No, yes, it is the hourly chart, but 19,000, key number. Oh, resisted. Pull back to the band. Resisted, matching high. Falling below to the band. Another retest after this breakout point, but falling again. Another test, this time supporting the 19 number, breaking out above it. We've now had 2 key support tests of this area. So you still have to be wary that it's going to resist this point. You get to it, it tries a bit to continue its gains, and ultimately it doesn't. So that's definitely a concern sign. But what happens if a key area that's supposed to be resistance really isn't, but only is on a short-term time frame as shown in such here? Decent size move to the upside. We see these with many crypto charts when they go hog wild, like the intro one. Let's next take a look at waves, WAVES, and the daily chart. Late February, like so many other cryptos, it bottomed in here. Since this point, the 18 average has been a huge area for where it's been finding support, which is where it has just entered in it again. You can see how it's made this key high, a little bit of a pullback and back to it. So let's shorten it out just so we can see what has happened on the most recent time frame. We can see within the hourly time frame, it makes a move up to this high, pulls back, and since then has stayed within this sideways consolidation of note. The most recent resistance area field right here, almost tested it. But the key thing is it broke it, and it barely had a gain back to where you want to go, correctionary band. Break above, and that's really where you wanted to break above it. At least find support within this higher low and break, but notice how this band does not rise further, and then boom, there's the decent fall, even lower than where it came from, which of course was this previous level. And you got this more longer term range, so now we know that if this level doesn't hold, then maybe you're going to have a more deeper correction. And because it's had a very good correctionary phase within this long sideways action, that if this thing breaks in and you see momentum breaking north of this level, you're probably going to have a decent gain towards the upside. Of cautionary note, if it does come down to this level and you find support, there's a good chance it will. There might be some resistance in and around the 20 number, this level here. Finishing this off in the 3-day time frame. This thing started out last year, about this time last year. And there's a long sideways consolidation, but since the late February bottom, which technically is a failed breakout. Don't see too many of those in the crypto game, but we've had the break of this resistance area, so that little bit of correction that I showed just before is just a short-term move. The range of this band right now, 105 to 143. Areas where maybe support might be found, or if you're looking for a spot to buy, maybe this might be one of the key areas. If you want to go really deep, try if it's a major correction. This is what I like about orders. You ask yourself the question, if the situation occurs where the waves price manages to make it down to the 50,000 Satoshi mark, losing 3/4 of its value from where it stands today, do you want to buy? If the answer is oh hell yeah, or definitely any of those things, put a buy order in. If the answer is not really, well, obviously you do not put one in. But that's the beauty of it. You put your orders in, and it's Bitcoin. So if you want to hold so much in Bitcoin, perfect places to hold them are the insane orders. And a 50,000 buy order here is considered one, but they can happen. And that's almost like saying in here where you're like buying this point, say you bought it like 30,000. Yeah, let's put an insane sell order for 20 or 200,000. That's like over 6 times higher. Well, you've already sold that already. So the insane levels can work. Thank you for tuning in to today's cryptocurrency chart analysis video, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.